All right. So next, I want to go over some more of the basic stuff. We have a new expansion, in case you didn't notice. All right, so, oops. EVE Online's exciting new narrative-driven expansion is here and live now. So it's time for you to choose your fight, and join the Uprising. The introduction of brand new Navy dreadnoughts and destroyers bring even more variety to the battlefield, as well as intimidating new visuals. In addition, the future of war arrives in faction warfare has received a significant update with the launch of Frontlines and Advantage systems, focusing Capsuleer efforts on emerging conflicts hotspots. On top of that, you can now fly your colors proudly in the war zone and anywhere in New Eden. With corporations and alliance emblems on ships, you can now also enjoy the incredibly enhanced audio and visual environment of new Upwell hangars. As the tensions have steadily but significantly escalated between the Empires and New Eden in recent months, conflicts will continue to ignite across the cluster in the wakes of the stellar transmuter accident and the invasion of Intaki. The Uprising has just begun. Blah, blah, blah. There's new dreads, new destroyers. We knew that already. We've seen the video. Loyalty points for for all Navy ships have been cut pretty significantly. We'll look at those numbers when we get to the patch notes. And also the Neuralink conduit components have been removed from sub-capital Navy ship blueprints, which is absolutely huge. Uprising also introduces oh, hey. Thanks, Lars. Welcome to the team, I guess. I don't know. Oh, 7 to you. Thank you for that. So then there's the Advantage system. Frontline's feature of faction warfare is now also live, drawing pilots closer to the borders. Frontline's systems are adjacent to enemy-controlled star systems and are the heart of the battle, the highest level of reward. Command operations are adjacent to frontline systems as standard LP, and rearguard have relatively safe and has no LP reward payouts from the looks of things. The operational state of faction warfare system will determine the properties such as specific system effects, spawning of sites. This is kind of cool, right? Specific system effects, spawning of sites, loyalty point rewards, victory point gains. For example, any LP earned through activities in frontline systems is subject to a 50% increase in reward. So basically you get 150% reward in frontlines, 100% in command operations, and 0 in rear guards. The new Advantage system allows you to give your chosen faction an edge through the completion of activities in sites in faction warfare war zones and deploying anchorable player-built propaganda structures and listening outposts. There's also supply cache depots and rendezvous point sites that will affect faction advantage, plus operation center exploration sites that will provide the players with valuable codes to build the propaganda billboards and listening outposts. We'll look at all those when we get there. Another update for faction warfare involves the addition of more restrictions to complexes, as well as changes to site naming in order to better communicate those associated challenges and restrictions of the site. Find out more of these changes in the Uprising patch notes, which we will. New ships, new colors. You can represent your player corporation alliances with even more pride thanks to the addition of emblems on ships. It's also worth noting that this is only the first step of a broader system, just to experiment with it and to get it out there and start toying with it. In fact, there's actually some other interesting bugs that we'll be looking at that show some clues as to where we're going with all of this. And holy shit, am I excited. A new in-game corporation called Paragon has 11 stations. I have a whole video on that if you're interested. The Paragon agent missions will reward Capsuleers with Evermarks. So it's worth noting that different Iris agents, you can only do one a day, but Iris agents will offer different requests, right? So for instance, the Iris agent in Abyssal for me asked for an incursus, but sorry, what is the other one? Shit. Imicus. Okay, yeah. So it asked for an incursus, but then when I went back to Dodixie to get the incursus, I remembered that there was a Paragon station in Dodixie as well. So I went in there and they wanted an Imicus. So that's worth noting. I also have heard reports of people being requested for something as much as a retriever. Now, the rewards, when I turned in, both of my frigates were requesting, yes, the Imicus. Both of my requests were for a frigate, and both of them offered 2,500 Evermarks, which is only enough to get like a shuttle worth of logo. I would need to do 3 days worth of this in order to get a single kind of normal ship's emblem. Okay. However, there were reports of people being requested for a retriever, and that retriever was... Wait, you can split the rewards with fleet members like normal missions? Are you serious? That's crazy. That's a big one if it's true. Big if true. But the retriever was worth 4,000 Evermarks. That's really cool. Now, here's the kicker. Oh, yeah, covered her for 4K as well. Here's the kicker with that. I actually got 2 reports. One reporting that they wanted the retriever for 4K, and one who was being offered the retriever for 3,750. I suspect that this means that skills that bonus rewards from missions will also bonus these payouts. Again, this is speculation based on early reports. I have no solid evidence to that. So if anybody has anything that they want to add to that, as far as like your own experiences, that would be awesome. There is 100 different ships that have the emblems on them, and yeah, more is going to follow. Mission LP rewards also scale with the system TrueSec. While that's true, I want to say that both of them were like in heck. So it's worth checking for that. Okay, so Volos said that the retriever got him 1,333 LP for 3 characters in a fleet, so 4K total. So yes, so that means, I wonder if that means that you can, so I could complete my task as Ashtarothi and then log in each of my alts, fleet up with Ashtarothi, and finish the mission in order to give Ashtarothi as many Evermarks as I possibly can. And that's even more doable right now because of the special thing going on right now, which I was supposed to have pulled up, but I don't for some reason. Hold on one second. What? No. No. Stop. No, stop. Stop. I don't want you to actually launch Eve. No, that's actually going to launch Eve. Gosh darn it. All right, fine. Nothing's ever easy, right? Here, oh, it is. It's the same page. Okay, fine. Whatever. The kicker here is that everyone is being given 7 days of Omega. You can get this by simply logging in, opening up your New Eden store, and right here at the top, 7 days free Omega. Go ahead and grab that. Now, what this means is that means that these login rewards boom. What that means is that these login rewards for the event, nope, that was the wrong button. There's also a 7-day long well, it lasts for 9 days, but it's 7 total days of rewards. There's an alpha and omega track. Remember, you get the omega track for free on this one, on all of your characters. If you have any alts, if you have any alpha accounts that you've been kicking around, if you have any alpha accounts that have been maximized their 5 million SP, any of that stuff, you know, take advantage of the 7 days of free omega. Feel free to take advantage of the ability to log in all these characters to be able to turn in your missions for Evermarks. Feel free to use this to train skills above what you normally can. Now, and feel free to get the free 2 million skill points or more out of this. So, or 200,000 skill points rather. So that's really cool. I will advise you that be careful, and I would actually recommend setting up your skill plan before going Omega, because unless you're planning on keeping that character Omega after the fact, if you're planning on the character and the account going back to being Alpha when this is done, you may want to make sure that you only pick up skills that are going to still be available once you become an Alpha, right? But you get double training, you get to multi-login, you get all of these cool daily rewards as an Omega, all that stuff for the next 7 days. I would pick that up, personally, I would pick that up sooner rather than later. I don't know if there's any... Oh, it's until the 22nd of November. So you have until the 22nd of November to grab that bonus, which is a pretty good offering. So if you wait too long, however, you could actually miss out on the track, because the track will end before the 22nd. So there's that to take into consideration, I suppose. So, all right, let's see. What else? We got ahead of ourselves. There's the Paragon thing. There are different stations. Like I said, I have an entire video about how to do the Paragon stuff and what's going on with it. New Upwell hangars, which I'd love to show off, but I actually don't have any good places to go show that at this exact moment, with me being in Intaki right now. There is new AMD Fidelity Super Resolution 1.0 boost, which I kind of don't understand what that means, but if you have a cool graphics card with AMD, then it might be worth checking it out. There also is a new feature, AMD, you can just see if you can turn it on here. And there's also a new option of ambient occlusion. Okay, so it's worth noting that, oh shoot, hold on. Here you go. So as you can see, there's the AMD FSR 1.0, and there is the ambient occlusion. So those are the two new visual things on top of just general improvements. So that's cool. There is a known issue, which we'll go into more of the known issues in a little bit, but there's a known issue where if you change your graphics settings using this preset, that it doesn't necessarily switch your ambient occlusion, so double check that. There's the new turret sounds. Quality of life changes. Alliances are getting their own version of corporation fittings. Alliances can... Oh, increase in fittings. That's so good. Maximum number of fleet members in the watch list has been increased to 100. The Mad Lads did it. A lot of this stuff is actually in the patch notes, so we'll probably jump over to the patch notes and look at that. There's the daily login rewards from the 11th to the 17th. And then there's these new packs on the Eve store. Let's actually talk about those first. These packs are, I find, intensely interesting. I both love them and hate them. So the thing that's really important to paying attention to these, to evaluating these packs, is the fact that unlike some of the previous packs, these packs can be purchased in-game with Plex. So I can get a Liberation front pack for Plex for 1,000 Plex. And it's the same exact thing as getting it on the cash shop. Now, these do come with an expert system. And just last night, I was complaining about the fact that expert systems basically require you to pay real life cash. You can't get them through in-game efforts. But now you can, at least for a little while right now. Oh, whoa, what just happened? Did they just light more Sinos? That's going to be worth keeping an eye out on. Either way. So let's look at these packs for a little bit. Because they are very interesting, but there's a lot to them when it comes to evaluating whether or not you want to buy them. Okay, so first things first. What I would like to do is answer the question, are these packs worth buying for Plex? That is the question that I would like to answer. Okay? So, first things first, or the first piece to this, because I keep on saying first things first. The packs themselves are $25, $24.99. All right? For the same amount of money, if you were to buy Plex, what's up, goal-oriented? Oops. If you were to buy Plex, you would get 500 Plex for $25. Okay? So, in essence, in cash, the value of the pack is worth the same amount of cash as 500 Plex. So just on the surface, just by looking at that fact alone, if we go and look at the Nest store again, we can see that the packs are 1,000 Plex. So you're actually paying twice as much in Plex to buy the packs than you would if you had bought the same packs with cash. So there's an inherent, like, I guess the short of it is, do not buy 1,000 Plex just to buy it from the Plex store. Just buy the pack outright, right? But the question is, how not worth it is it? Is this a scam? Is it a trick? Should you not buy this with Plex? Well, let's evaluate its value independently, okay? So obviously the Plex itself is worth, like, you're paying more in Plex than it's worth, as it were. But what you get, let's just look at the Imperial Crusade one for ease. You get the 30 Days of Omega, which is the 500 Plex. You get an Apocalypse Navy issue Lava Core, an Augur Navy issue Star Captain, a Core Ship Operations Expert System, a Harbinger Navy issue Sorum skin, a Slicer Crown and Sword skin, a Magnate Semotique Superluminal skin, and the goggles and masks that just came out today. So how much would this be if you wanted to buy these items for Plex? Or more importantly, how many of these items would you need to want to have for this to be more valuable to buy it with Plex than to buy the pieces that you want? Well, that's actually a really easy answer. If we go down here, the goggles and masks, we're actually going to count only one of the sets of goggles and masks, even though you could theoretically just sell the other and it gives you both. We're just going to count it as 300 Plex total, right? Even though you do get both. So 500 Plex plus 300 Plex, that's 800 Plex already. And then all we have to do is come down to ship skins and look at the Amar. and look at the Lava Core. Apocalypse Navy issue Lava Core Imperial skin is 390 plex. So just with one skin and one of the packs of the clothes and the Omega time by itself is worth over 1,000 plex. So what does this mean? This means if you want to get the pack and you want to buy it for cash, or if you want to buy the pack and you can buy it for cash, that is the most effective way to do it. If you don't have the cash but want to buy it for Plex, it is very easy to still justify the value of buying the pack with Plex. Does that track? Are we good? Does that make sense? The short of it is, don't buy the Lava Core Navy issue skin, Apocalypse Navy issue skin for Plex right now. What are you seeing in the background? I'm not sure at what point you're talking about, Law, but what you're seeing in the background here, this is the Gallente takeover of the Intaki system. Is there a time limit on the pack itself? I assume, I thought it said that the pack was part of the deal until the 22nd. Let me double check. Yes, the Uprising packs are with the exception of the new character apparel featured in the packs, all other apparel in the nest will be 50% off until 22nd of November. So it doesn't actually specifically say that the packs are going to be only until the 22nd of November, but everything else related to the subject is going to only last until the 22nd. So if you want to double check to make sure you get it, I would get it before the 22nd, but there is a chance that it'll continue to go afterwards. Why buy Plex when you can get it as a login reward? You get Plex as a login reward? I don't think I've ever gotten that. All right. Hopefully can get something when I get paid on the 15th. Yeah, it's really good that they kept it to the end, more than halfway through the month, right? But you do get the 7 days of Omega for free. Make sure to utilize that. Yes, okay. Fine. We're going to talk about that actually right now, Cass. So before we go into the patch notes, I guess, I want to point out a couple of things that are not... one of the things I want to talk about today are the things that are not in this expansion. The glaring things that seem to still be missing that we haven't heard very much from. So, for example, I've written down, we have not gotten allegiances, right? The allegiance system is not put in. So you still have to join faction warfare the normal way in order to participate in faction warfare. That is coming out within the next, first quarter of next year. We did not get the Excel integration, which I find very interesting. This might be because I imagine it's because it's a bit of technical, like there's a bit of considerations when it comes to working with a totally different company like Microsoft. And boy, Microsoft can be clunky as far as like a company goes when it comes to doing things. So I can imagine that had some unfortunate delays or something. We haven't heard anything new from the Deathless, really. And we haven't seen the new Deathless pirate ship line that I've been kind of jonesing and predicting. The Deathless actually was mentioned in the World News, or the New Eden News, involving the Turner Crisis, because the Deathless was teaming up with the Angels and the Garistas to do rescue operations. So very much still kicking around. So that's kind of worth keeping an eye on. And as I mentioned earlier, the End to the Gate event is also not done yet. So we can still continue to try to build the Stargate for the Gallente and still do the other tasks for the Caldari, Amar, and Mimitar to turn in for rewards, even though they have already completed their tasks. Okay. So yeah, the Deathless is more or less a populist, if you want to think about it that way, right? He's attempting to unite the smuggler networks. So, okay. There's one other thing that we didn't get today in full, which was the heraldry system. The heraldry system is the system that allows us to do the alliance logos, and that's pretty much the only. Hey, look, the Cynos do light up. The heraldry system is the only, or is sorry, the alliance logos and corporation logos is the only piece of the heraldry system that we've already gotten. However, there is a series of bugs, a series of known issues that continue to give us a bit of a preview of the kind of things that we could expect from the heraldry system. A few weeks ago, pretty popularly, the paladin had this like smoke and lightning on their ship. How do you put on the heraldry? In your fitting window, you now have a personalization section and emblems. So you would put them in these two slots now of your personalization. This is, to repeat my joke, this is where my alliance logo would go if I had one. No. Yeah. But I'm more interested in the things that exposes what's going to come, right? So like I said, a few weeks ago, the paladin had this like cloud with lightning on it that looked really cool, right? Well, in the known issues of Uprising, there's a note that says that that the nightmare has some weird stuff on it, and that hold on, let me see if I can find the known issue. Yeah, here's the known issue thread. The note on the known issue thread is erroneous VFX on the nightmare. We are currently rounding up the tigers and returning them to their cages. Chuckle, chuckle, chuckle. Oh, CCP, you're so funny. I wonder what kind of VFX they're talking about. So we look up the nightmare. Holy shit balls, right? So this is unbelievably cool. Okay? Not only are there this cool tiger thing at the top, which you can't see my cursor because I turned that off. Hold on. Not only is there this cool tiger thing at the top with a bunch of smoke coming off of it, but there is three-dimensional tigers at the bottom. You can see this is not just like a flat image like the top ones. The tigers at the bottom are full-on three-dimensional objects that flash on and off. So I missed the question. Uh-oh. That's not a sound I wanted to hear. Luckily, actually, there's no... This is fine. Most of these sites also have Edencom towers. So I had a bit of a freak out. I got too close. That's why Eve has sound, guys. So that way you can hear when you accidentally decloak when you're not paying attention at all. Anywho. So, where was I? There's a few known issues regarding this. Yes. Unless you're talking about like a performance issue or whatever. The only issue I know is that it's showing up when it's not supposed to. This doesn't look like a skin to me. That looks like a heraldry, right? So I assume that that's a heraldry that's going to be made available at some point in the future. To further solidify that, let's go look at the stork. The stork has these line effects added to it that are also not correct. The Serenity only skin, again, skins don't really do that. I suspect it's still going to be part of the new particle system. I think that it's too much of a coincidence that we get all of these and also the lightning effects on the paladin. It just feels to me like they're letting things slip through before they're ready. New heraldry rewards, I mean, they could definitely do that. And then the stiletto. The stiletto also has a pretty cool effect on it right now. So, there you go. And these effects are independent of what skin you're actually showing. I need my snake hat. I know, right? I want those tigers to leap out at people. I want the snake hat to grab hold. Whatever happened to pressing enter to chat in game? I don't know. I know spacebar is traditionally set focus to your chat window. Except for I recommend changing that off. So yeah. All right. Well, that's cool stuff. Let's talk about, now that we're done talking about all the things that we're not getting, let's talk about the things that we are getting. Or that we have gotten, I should say. What did I just turn on? There we go. Okay. So, it's divided into several categories. Buckle up, I guess. Let me get this ready to go. There we go. All right, let us begin with the patch notes. First and foremost, empires are at war. The new Frontlines feature is available. As we mentioned, I think we talked about this earlier. Frontlines are adjacent to enemy-controlled systems. Command operations are adjacent to frontlines, and rearguards are not adjacent to frontlines or enemy systems. There's been a surprise attack. They've taken these systems, which we talked about in the announcement by Celis Agard. Okay, so there's an advantage system. Let's talk about the new types of structures, because I think this hasn't been covered very much alongside with all of the other coverage of the system that is coming out, or that has came out. Propaganda Billboard, a deployable structure that will serve to demoralize opposing factions. Upon completion of the structure, advantage will be added to aid you in capturing of the system. Listening outputs, a deployable structure used to crack transmission frequencies that once completed will remove advantage from the opposing faction. Supply caches and depots, in-space quick supply depots for the opposing faction that, if destroyed, will remove advantage from the opposing faction. Rendezvous points, soloable rendezvous points allow players to engage with the war zone by intercepting NPC combatants. Upon destroying the commander of the fleet, advantage will be awarded. And Operations Center, hacking an exploration site that will provide the players with valuable codes to build propaganda billboards and listening outposts. So, you have to find operation centers of your opposing faction and go in them and hack the cans to retrieve the stuff to be able to build up your own propaganda billboards. Rendezvous points and supply caches appear to be some sort of like combat event that you can go and do within these systems as well. Kill rats for points. It's also worth noting that somebody mentioned to me that putting down the listening outposts and the propaganda towers effectively triggers a rogue crab beacon-like event where rats come to try to stop you, but you are awarded LP for finishing it. Somebody can confirm or deny that from being true. As we mentioned earlier, frontline systems give 150% bonus to loyalty points. Command operations are 100%, with rearguards being 0. There are no more reward tiers. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Rendezvous points are emerging conduits. Maybe that could be a safe way to look at it. Yeah. Although I don't know if they'll respawn in the same way or whether or not you'll want to be running. I mean, they're going to be in dangerous low-sec systems, so it'll be interesting to see what kind of difficulty they are. Okay, so under the current so faction warfare also now has 2 different kinds of plexes. There's 2 different kinds of plexes. You now have Navy and Advanced. Navy plexes do not allow pirate ships in them. Only T1 and Empire Navy frigates, or ships of that kind. Whereas Advanced allows T2, up to T2 of that same type. However, the other one that's interesting is some of them are labeled 1 and some of them are labeled 5. The ones that are labeled 5 allow up to 5 players to participate in the Plex and get full reward. So just like a Triglavian invasion site, if you run a 5-man Plex with less than 5 people, you're actually leaving LP on the table, right? Because you don't get the full amount. You get the maximum amount that a single person can get, which is 1/5 the total amount. And total LP value is going to be 25% over the solo version of the Plex. This is the pirate faction thing that I was talking about, Advanced and Navy. Hold on a second. I just want to check something really quick from these notes. While I check this, I'm going to run an ad. Enjoy. I think I just did. Did I just do that? I think I just did. Insert ad, right? All right. Where was I? If I open up the faction warfare window, which is under social activities. Oh, no. I need to go into the agency. If I go to the agency and I go to encounters, faction warfare systems, and I look up a random system, I'm going to see the different sites names. Yeah. Whoopsie. There's a problem in the patch notes. It's minor. It's a relatively minor change. Is everybody back from ads yet? I'm a premium YouTube subscriber too. So while the patch notes say that the lowest tier site is still called Novice, they actually renamed it so now Novice complexes are known as Scout. So relatively minor correction, but something to keep in mind. Cool. And then, so Upwell docking rules in factional warfare. In frontline systems, players of both sides are allowed to dock. I'm kind of skeptical about this. I think that there's always been a really, like, the whole point of the Citadels and their damage they did to faction warfare was the fact that they undermined station lockout, which made it so that sieges were too easy. Now, the frontline system may completely make this complaint moot, but the idea that, like, both sides can dock in a frontline system seems to be, like, the exact opposite of what I would recommend. The new update looks pretty darn good, I ain't gonna lie. Hold on, it's a bit chilly in here. Okay, so frontline systems, assuming that they would have access to so you can there's no docking restrictions or tethering restrictions inherent to the frontline systems. In command operations and rearguards, enemy militias cannot tether except in capsules, cannot dock except for in capsules. Enemy militia cannot undock from the structure except for capsules. That's a big fucking thing. That's a big one. That one is probably pretty good that they didn't bring it to the front lines. Friendly militia and unaligned players can dock and tether freely. And unaligned players or friendly militia are able to dock and tether. So, yeah, it doesn't affect people outside of the militia. Hold on a second. Now I need to go get my own merch so that way I can rep it too. All right. To celebrate the launch of Uprising, a special set of login rewards, 425,000 SP. Apparently I can't count. And remember, one more time, everyone gets 7 days of Omega, so everyone should be getting the Omega rewards from this track. You do not need to get Omega first. Once you get Omega, you will retroactively be get all of the other rewards from the track from Omega. New Navy ships. We've been over the Navy ships already in previous episodes, so I'm not going to dig too deep into all of them right now. But the Catalyst Navy issue is gets a bonus to hybrid fall off. And man, I've done a lot more evaluation of these when I pulled them up side by side, so I'll just point to those those videos and whatnot. But overall, the new destroyers look really good, in particular when it comes to brawling in the new Navy only sites. And the dreads are really, really cool. We talked about those yesterday. I, for one, want a Moros Navy issue and a Rev Navy issue pretty seriously. Heavy assault cruiser rebalance. This was a big one. Basically the Munin was so much of a pain in the butt that all of the hacks suffered for it. But at the same time, I also really agree with the overall changes here. One of the things that bothered me was that a ship type that has the word assault in it had bonuses that made it want to be at range. So one of the biggest changes that have been done is overall pulling the hacks in closer a little bit. The Munin, however, was completely transformed. It now is a missile boat, which I've already gotten reports from people using it in the Abyss successfully, which is very funny. The Cerberus gained some power grid, gained some CPU, lost targeting range. And this is pretty typical for the rest of them too, right? Losing target range. The Eagle goes a little slower. Zealot lost targeting range. Vagabond lost targeting range. but gain power grid. Ishtar lost targeting range, and that's about it. Sacrilege lost targeting range. And resistance is reduced. Oh, no, increased to 5%. This is really interesting. So resistances used to be, the things that gave resistances used to give 5% per level. And then at one point, they reduced all of the things that gave resistances from 5% per level to 4% per level. So putting that up there is pretty interesting. And then the Deimos had its targeting range reduced. Vagabond gained weapons range. Yes, some of them actually gained effective range through bonuses like this, but they lost targeting range, which was the key. Then there was also a rebalance of the Navy ships. Caracal Navy issue got its power grid increased. And it looks like a low slot was moved to a medium slot, which is 6 mediums is a lot of mediums, guys. That's a lot. That's a lot of mediums, and 3 lows is more than enough for Caracal. So that's pretty scary. And they also gained a 5% bonus to their speed, their haste, when it comes to firing. So basically a 5% increase in damage, which is pretty hot. Executor Navy issue gained power grid, got faster, lost a turret slot, and lost the hybrid bonus rate of fire bonus. Oh, but instead they gained 20% per level. So a grand total of 100% additional hybrid turret damage. So there you go. That's why. So it went from 5 turrets multiplied by 25 to make it roughly 6 turrets to being 4 turrets times 125, which is like 9 turrets, 10 turrets. So overall, the Executor gained firepower out of that significantly while still no longer requiring as many turrets, which is pretty hot. Now, this rate of fire bonus is probably folded into this, so it's not quite as extreme as I just said. But yeah. And then the reduction in armor plate mass penalty is super good. The Executor Navy issue is going to be pretty fun. I ain't gonna lie. I think that one of the things that's really nice about this, given the fact that they lost a turret slot, but they didn't lose a high slot. Let me look this up. So yeah, it still has 5 high slots. It just now has 4 turret hard points, which gives you a utility high, which you could put a repper or whatever else you want there. So that's pretty hot. Also, the damage bonus is the damage bonus replaces the rate of fire bonus, which means not only are you getting more damage for lesser turrets, you're also getting more damage for lesser bullets, right? The rate of fire bonus increases your damage by making you fire more often. Damage is just damage. Each shot is now more effective. So the Executor Navy issue is tougher. It is faster. It has an extra utility high. And it now hits hard as opposed to shoot fast. And for less cap. That's a good point. Dominic's Navy issue. I am very excited. The Dominic's Navy issue is one of those ships that, like, I've always kind of been annoyed at because the Dominic's is just better than the Dominic's Navy issue in a lot of ways. Not really anymore. So the power grid has been increased by 3,500 megawatts. The large hybrid turret bonus has been increased by a total of 12.5%. That's a pretty big bonus to damage, plus a bonus to tracking speed and a bonus to armor repair amount. So what does that mean? That means that the Dominic's Navy issue is now significantly better at mission running with that rep bonus and at using sentry drones with that tracking speed bonus. So you're now seeing, especially when you come with, so you've got the hybrids. So if you go with like rails on your Dominic's Navy issue, for example, you could hit with sentries from a pretty good distance with your sentries and your hybrids. Alternatively, your hybrids could be used on more closer things while your sentries are used on far away things. It's just become a really good little platform at this point. It is probably a really decent upgrade for mission runners and may function as a pretty good alternative to those who don't necessarily want to have to get all the way up to a rattlesnake. Armageddon Navy issue. Armageddon Navy issue is pretty significantly changed. It used to be the Armageddon Navy issue kind of didn't have a place, right? Because it's like, well, there's the Apocalypse Navy issue. The Armageddon Navy issue was just like the tanky one, right? That was what it's kind of known for. That's what Rooks and Kings used it for. Whereas the Apocalypse was more snipey. But the problem is that the Armageddon and the Balgorn and the Black Ops, whatever. It's not Revelation. It's the other one. Either way. They all have bonuses to neutralizers, that the Armageddon becomes a neutralization platform. So likewise, the Armageddon Navy issue is now going to be an effective... Redeemer, thank you. Is now going to be an effective energy nuke platform as opposed to a turret platform. In addition to this, the ships that are focused on newts, or rather, a lot of some of the ship line focuses on missiles instead of turrets, based on whether or not Lydice gives them support. Now, most of them are going to be Conid and whatnot. However, the Armageddon Navy issue would fall in line with, say, the Curse or the Dragoon, although the Dragoon uses turrets. Or, yeah, whatever. Either way, the point is that the Armageddon Navy issue is now more of a missile platform than a turret platform, which is important because missiles don't use cap. And it also has the NOS and Newt bonuses. Now, it can still do turrets. It has that bonus. It has bonus damage to the energy turrets as well. So it's got a ton of flexibility. In addition to that, it has a bonus to its drone damage. So this thing has gone from an artifact of an older philosophy of ship design to being an incredibly badass Armageddon. So that's pretty cool. Typhoon Fleet issue, already a monster on the battlefield. Now gained better application on both turrets and missiles. The Crow lost some application, which is... I guess I'm curious as to why. I suppose they lost. They took away their application to give them more hit points. Fine. I don't know. Interceptors are in a really weird place, and I would be curious to know if anybody can stand up to me and tell me why this fix to the Crow is so important. Typhoon Fleet is show 100% usage in AT-AT. There's a lot of good things here, though, right? Like, especially given, so for example, the restrictions on logistics in the AT also makes the Dominic's Navy issue a really sexy option. But, and the Armageddon, yeah, all of these things, like all of them become pretty sexy for the AT for various reasons. The Bellicose gained drone bandwidth, lost drone bay, and gained power grid. Which, I mean, fine. The Proteus now goes faster. Huzzah! The space bike now actually goes faster. CCP Aurora, I think it was saying we can now stop bitching that the Proteus is too slow. Bets on whether or not that'll work. The Rifter has been buffed in damage by a rate of fire bonus by 12.5% total. So that's pretty darn good too. The Rifter is probably one of the most iconic ships in the game and has kind of struggled ever since its rebalance. It's supposed to be good at like being a little kitey. But I mean, like it's kind of not really had a place in a world in which the Breacher and the Slasher exists. So I hope that this damage is really going to help, make it fight. The Ishkur gained CPU, gained power grid, lost a low slot, gained a medium slot, and gained drone tracking speed, as well as gained armor rep amount. This is great. I love Galente ships getting armor rep amount. The Ishkur was certainly struggling. I definitely... Hold on. Okay, yeah, the Ishkur can use 5 light drones. So that's fine. I guess the Ishkur kind of is designed to function as that T2 Tristan, and it's always really struggled in that regard. And I think that this might help with that. That rep bonus is going to be pretty solid. The increased fitting is going to be good too. The moving of a mid slot to a low slot, the moving of a low slot to a mid slot is fine. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird because now it has more mid slots than low slots. So we're talking like web scram, microwarp drive, and something. And then your low would be like damage control, repper, and mag stab. Probably. It lost drone track. Oh yeah, you're right. It lost drone tracking. That's weird. I don't know if I'm super keen on. Somebody needs to also convince me that A, the Ishkur needed this change, and B, what makes this change so good. All right, so next. This might be better in the Abyss. Yeah, I mean, the Ishkur does have the 50% bonus to drone hit points. I find that drone frigates struggle pretty hefty in the Abyss. Just because drone frigates use light drones, and there's just too many things in the Abyss that will just make your drones not an option. So, a rail Ishkur could probably get away with it in the Abyss. Yeah, ADCU, not damage control. That's true. It does have a utility high. I don't know. The Ishkar's always been kind of a weird ship. Looks like it'll continue to be one. We'll see whether or not it turns out to be really, really good. I think that the armor rep bonus is going to be pretty solid, to be honest. What is the Enyo bonuses? Let me check. The Enyo does not have a rep bonus. So yeah, that's actually really good. That's going to make the Ishkar overall a very tough nut to crack. All right. Paragon, Evermore. The nice thing about Evermore, you can now see in-game all of the different Evermore corporations. You can see Adaptive Provisioning, Chromo Inc., Interzone Shipping, Interbus, Interplanetary Media Network, Paragon, Vapor Sea Technologies, Verdi Entertainments, Valor Spec Ops, and Zero G Research Forum. I have a whole video talking about this, at least a couple, talking about Evermore, these corporations, and the tinfoil involved in all of that. But I, for one, embrace our new AI overlords. Next, Alliance and Corporation logos. 100 ships, all T1 frigates, Navy exploration frigates, T1 destroyers, Navy destroyers, dreadnoughts, haulers, freighters, battle cruisers, Navy battle cruisers, corvettes, and shuttles. So most T1. Some Navy, no T2. I bet you that they're testing out the pricing of these because Evermarks are limited by how many you can get per day. These things are kind of time gated, although you can apparently use a fleet to share rewards to get extra Evermarks quicker on a specific character. But I think that one of the reasons why they're releasing these Evermarks or these things first, it's not just a technical thing, because honestly, most T2 ships have the exact same architecture as the T1 ship. I think it has more to do with the fact that they're testing out the low price bracket, right? So it takes 3 days to get a normal ship's heraldry. How much is it going to take to get a T2 heraldry? You know, purchasing emblems are specific, or one per character, not tradable. Done through the fitting window. The 11 new Paragon stations are in all of the trade hubs, plus Orifei, Amamake, Asa, Albanal, Yahaba, and Hakoken. Yeah, when you go there, they tell you exactly what ship that you want, or they want. It needs to be in the station and packaged. Then you must wait 23 hours. Omegas get better rewards, so make sure to use your 7 days of free Omega before you start turning things in. A new tab to track Evermore balance. I think that's a bit excessive. There's the new personalization tab. And yeah. So once again, very quick. Once you get the heraldry, you go to the personalization tab here at the top left of the window. The skin button used to be here, but now it's here. And then the emblem button allows you to assign Alliance and Corporation logos. Okay? Let's see the wallet. So yeah, that seems very excessive to have an entire area just for Evermarks. But yeah. Oh, and there's a new tab. There's a new section of the agency, agents and missions. So that's pretty interesting. People, hold on, let's see. Never liked drones in the Abyss. Yeah, the Gila gets away with it because of its huge bonuses and medium drones. Why they don't take a Mimitar NPC Corp too? Well, so Evermore previous founder was Caldari, and the current guy who took it over seems to be Galente. So a lot of the corporations were drawn from them. What was adaptive provisioning? I'm gonna have to look these things up a little bit. We're gonna have to. Like I said, I went over all of the different videos. Isn't Zero G research? Nope, that's Caldari. The LP wallet header is broken. You mean it just spins and spins? Oh no, it just worked. What are you talking about? Swift has already said that sharing rewards in fleet is a bug and they'll be fixed working on soon. So did Swift say it's a bug or an exploit? Because, oh yeah, I guess it only says one LP corporation, even though I have more than a few LP corporations. That's pretty funny. Yeah, the Ishur may actually end up being pretty cool for solo PvP. I wonder if they're saying that that's a bug or an exploit. It would definitely be worth looking into before you start trying to like dump a bunch of Evermarks over to your other character. I would definitely get that verification. Or just not do it. Be patient. We'll get our logos and shite. Okay. NPC Titans and Supercarriers can now sporadically appear in Havens, Sanctums, Drone Patrols, and Horde Anomalies. I thought that was already a thing. I could have sworn that was already a thing. I know Dreads were already a thing. I thought Titans were also already a thing. But whatever. There's some sort of internal discussion on how to handle the rewards already handed out. Well, I'm not going to recommend it then, but it could be worth sneaking in there. What's the worst that could happen, right? No, unless they actually declare it as an exploit, then hard no. Chances are you'll just have your Evermore rewards taken away and your points reset to whatever it should be. All right. A flat 60% reduction in Navy ship blueprint copy loyalty points have been introduced to encourage pilots to acquire and fly them. So Navy frigates have gone from 10K to 4K. Can somebody confirm that the new Navy exploration frigates are included in that? Navy destroyers are going to be 1,200. Navy cruisers went from 4,500 to 1,800. Navy battle cruisers went from 100,000 to 40,000. Navy battleships went from 250,000 to 100,000. And Navy destroyers are now 1 million. That is huge. Can you do a microwarp drive cloak trick with a 5MN microwarp drive and a mammoth? You should. You should. I would test it, but it would probably work. Might need a 50, but it should work. No. then you might need a 50. Also, remove the Neuralink conduits for the build requirements in Navy blueprints. So this is actually a really big deal for those people that were in faction warfare, that are in faction warfare. So rewinding all the way back to the industry changes. When they made the industry changes, they added new doodads that changed the way that battleships, capital ships, and faction ships were built. Battleships and above require core temperature regulators and other doodads that are built from reactionables from R4 moons, which are all of the moons in high sec, all of the moons in wormhole space, the lowest tier moon. That materials gets reacted into the basic stuff that builds this other stuff. Faction equipment requires additional doodads that involve exploration loot and gas specific to that empire's area, with pirate ships requiring 2, one for each of the factions that it's involved with, as well as its life preservation seals and stuff. So these faction ships still require the life preservation seals. So there still is some requirement for the new R4 reaction, not new, but the R4 reactionable materials like reinforced carbon fibers and such. However, the pieces that require the gas and the exploration doodads are the part that was removed from most from the subcapital Navy ships. And that is by far the most expensive piece of the industry changes. Like when you think about pirate ships exploding in price back during the industry changes, this was why, specifically because of the exploration loot and the gas that's required. So the spike didn't ever happen as much on the Navy side of things because Navy has an outlet, a relief valve that is much more accessible, which is faction warfare. Faction warfare pilots can trade in a base ship plus some chips, Nexus chips that they get from running missions for another, some other organization within the same faction. And then they just automatically transform the ship, right? Like you can transform a Dominix into a Dominix Navy issue, for example. So since the industry changes, that is effectively how every Navy ship has come into existence, because it's been so ridiculously expensive and unreasonable to actually build the ship from the BPC. For the most part, ships have been being converted over from chips. However, with the combined benefit of removing the Neuralink conduits from Navy ships and the reduction in LP for the buying of the BPCs, this pushes the pendulum in the other side of the equation pretty forcefully to make it so that it likely will be significantly better again to build off of the BPC than to convert with a chip, which in my opinion is setting things right again, right? Doesn't it just make sense that the thing that takes extra steps would also have a little bit of a cost benefit? So that's pretty cool. People will be building these ships with BPCs again. There's also 2 brand new skills. Hauling ships is a whole other issue though. And that's good because that's the other reason why BPCs are good in this case. Yeah, there's no BPOs for faction stuff. So you now have advanced contracting, which is another 20 contracts. No, yeah, 20 contracts total for a rank 10 skill. And it's 250 million ISK from NPCs, or 325 million on demand. So this is a very luxury skill. And then elite infomorph psychology. For years, people have been asking for more clones, especially as they've been introducing different and more pirate implants over the last couple of years. There's been this strong call for more clones, right? So now we have elite infomorph psychology. As of right now, you start out with 1, Infomorph Psychology gives you 5 more for 6. Advanced Infomorph Psychology gives you 5 more for 11. And Elite Infomorph Psychology for 500 million ISK at an NPC station, or 650 million ISK at a out of the UI. A rank 12 skill will increase your clones to 16, which I think that it's fairly safe to say that only the most elite of Capsuleers would even need this skill. But it is there for those who do. Security status changes. Outlaws, i.e. -5 or lower security status, are no longer allowed to dock in high security stations while in ships. Alpha clones can no longer change their settings to red. That's not what they said was going to happen. I wonder... So, like, the whole point was that they couldn't change their safety status to red in high sec. But it not being able to be changed to red at all would also influence their ability to pod in low sec, for example. But that's basically it as far as criminal actions go. And then it is no longer possible to run any Abyss sites in 1.0 or 0.9 security systems. Abyssal dead space changes. So this is all the stuff that we went over yesterday. It is current. This video is live just now on the YouTubes. So go ahead and check it out for a more detailed analysis of these changes. Frigate wormholes have been changed from 16-hour life to 4.5 hours. What this means is that wormholes will happen. Oh yeah, also their spawn rates have been reduced. So you will still now get them more frequently. But they'll only last 4.5 hours instead of 16 hours, which is really good because if a frigate wormhole shows up, it has a tendency to kind of shut down any operations that were planned within that wormhole for the night, because they're so uncontrollable. So having it last only 4.5 hours, like that's a pretty reasonable, I can wait for this frigate wormhole to be over. Whereas a 16-hour, not only does that basically ruin your entire day, but it all but guarantees that somebody will stumble upon the wormhole connection itself. 4.5 hours is not a lot of time for somebody to actually stumble upon it, and therefore find their connection to you. So, pretty interesting change. Hangar visuals. Canceling and docking will sometimes make your ship perform a 360 and park in the same spot you took off from. A new way to ship spin for the absolute best. That's hot. I love that. New graphic stuff, the AMD fidelity effects. If you have an AMD card, that's probably pretty good. It gives you better frame rate. You can check it out in the display and graphics settings. Also, make sure that you have your ambient occlusion turned on. It gives pretty cool effects. It makes everything look a little bit more three-dimensional. Is it probably a good way of thinking about it? Make sure that it does get turned on, because there's currently a bug that makes it so it doesn't get switched on automatically when changing the settings through like a preset. Oh, it works for all GPUs. It works on AMD, NVIDIA, Intel, and Apple One based graphics cards. Fair enough. Cool. So why would you not want to turn it on? Yeah, why would you not want to turn it on? Yeah, I really want the NPC stations too. It makes me wonder why that didn't happen. I have a couple of guesses as to what's going on with the stations. So, it could be a technical thing. So, upwell structures are actually not the same as stations. In essence, you actually, like, upwell structures are closer to giant ships than stations in the classic sense, with the way that they actually are processed within the system. So that's why you can like see them outside and take over them. So, oh, here we go. Hold on. Low res rendering upscale native is better. Oh, okay. So you'll just have to see whether or not it's better off for you. So it could just be that whatever system they built for the new hangars works for the newer Upwell tech, but not for the older station tech. They may look very similar, but they may actually be totally different implementations, for all we know. The other chance is that it could be a sort of soft rollout of sorts, where this is something that could eventually be rolled out to stations. But just like with the heraldry, like, I wonder if it may not necessarily be technically related. It may be business related, I guess is a way of putting it, right? Like, it may be to give something special to Upwell structures. It may be to allow them to test things out at a smaller scale. You know, there's various different reasons why this could be. So, but I haven't seen any indication, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, that says that they are bringing it to standard stations. Docking sound is nails on the chalkboard here. I know that there is a really interesting new visual when docking. I didn't hear the sound effect. All right, and the Phoenix now has a new visual update, which is really cool. The Tech 1 and Tech 2 variants of destroyers have received a visual update. We should probably look into that. And the Amar Navy pattern. I love the new Amar Navy pattern. I ain't gonna lie. I approve. And then the new audio turrets, there's a video about those. And there's new login music. I did notice that. There's new login music. It's been a long time since we've had new login music. Pretty happy about that. The docking visual does seem sort of out of place. It feels like it's something, it's an early piece of a larger picture, but it just by itself seems very out of place. New player experience changes. A bunch of little details. The Incursus will now be given instead of the Tristan. That's actually a really good. That's a good change right there. I thought it was kind of awkward to give brand new players a Tristan when Tristans require Drones 5 to be fully operational. A miner 1 will be used instead of a civilian miner, which is probably really good because everybody, like, of all of the different equipment, people go out and just use their civilian miner. They just take their stuff and just start mining real stuff. So that could be interesting. Other random stuff. Yeah, not just little tiny improvements. Okay, little things. CCP Karker has blessed us once again. When your ship is initiating a clone jump, you no longer need to actually get out of your ship. It'll automatically get you out of your ship, and then wait out the timer, and then make the clone jump. Fucking awesome. I cannot explain how many times I have docked up, done the clone jump, undocked, and not even realized that I just didn't do the clone jump at all, right? Because I didn't get out of my ship. Alliance fittings have been added. Alliances can save 600 fittings. Fucking outstanding. Personal ship fittings has been increased from 500 to 500 from 250. Outstanding. Corporation fittings have been doubled from 600 to 600 from 300. Amazing. When you're using strip fittings, drones will now be removed from the drone bays. Hallelujah. It is now possible to repackage multiple ships, even if they have rigs fitted. Caution, rigs will still be destroyed just when repackaging individual ships with rigs fitted. Also great. It is possible to repair all damaged modules at once with a right-click repair all modules. That is fucking phenomenal. Players can now activate and apply ship skins with fewer clicks and remotely. Remotely? I don't even know what those words mean. Applying a ship skin remotely is a very interesting concept in and of itself, right? Corporations, I guess that's because of the new window. Corporations now have access to Evermark wallet and assign spending rights to different roles. Cool. Probe scanner window will now indicate when an anomaly or cosmic signature spawns. Oh. How did I miss that one before? Hold up. I'm gonna put this here, and we're gonna see if that does anything. Does what mean? No. I think that means that, like, if I have a ship in Jita, I can set its skin. So, like, if I have a ship and I get out of that ship, if I have an Incursus and I set its skin and I jump into a different Incursus, that different Incursus will have a different skin set to it. But if I then jump into the first Incursus again, it will be set to the skin that it was already set to. What this seems to imply to me is that you can actually choose what skin a ship will have. You can basically do the ship customization remote to the ship in the same way that you could, like, simulate the ship. I think. We'll have to test this. Actually, let's test it right now. Icky Tursa. Icky so good. So if I go here and go to simulate ship and then personalization, I'm still personalizing this thing. Okay. I no longer have any idea. I don't know what that means. Oh. I think, wait, hold on. I know what it is. I know what it is. I think it's talking about using the ship skin, like the actual license itself. You could already do that, but now you can do it with less clicks. So let's test it out. Do I have any skins that I haven't used yet? Oh, yeah. See, look at that. Holy shit. That's what it meant. Apply to the current ship. Well, that's actually kind of cool. Hold on. Legion. Do I have a Legion skin kicking around at all? No. Why would I have that? Cool. Well, either way. Yeah, it looks like I can just apply it. I can apply it as in activate the skin license. You can always do that, but now you can do it. The issue wasn't you can now do it. The issue was you can do it with fewer clicks, right? So now if I go to my skin, I have a button here. So one click, I can now apply a skin, as opposed to right click, apply skin. I think that's, oh, hey, look at that. Likewise, I guess if you have a skin for a ship that you are in, you can just automatically have it be applied to your ship, which is kind of cool. Not every little thing is a complete game changer, you know. All right, so just most of them. Probe scanner window will now indicate when new ones. Do we see anything? Hey! Thank you for that super chat, Dan. Very cool of you. $5. Don't forget, you can now also become a member and get the emotes and access to the full VODs or the full streams, recordings, and other videos and polls and stuff like that. What was that? I don't know what that was. What was that? Oh, that was the same thing. Cool. Distance to the content displayed in the agency will now consider autopilot settings when showing the number of jumps required. That's good. Man, so many people have been confused when they see like, oh, 10 jumps to here. And then they set destination and it's like 40. And they're like, what the hell even happened? A filter has been added to the F10 map, which displays the location of your jump clones. That's handy. Jump clones tabs in the character sheet now shows the estimated value of implants of each clone. Uh-oh. Where? Oh. Yeah, okay. These are numbers I didn't want to have to look at again, to be honest. Oh, shit. Yeah, skins in containers could not be activated before. I don't know. I don't think that that's changed. Mobile depots, tractor units, and warp disruptors can now be saved in the cargo of ship fittings with the fitting tools. Didn't that also, like, they also made it so that, like, filaments and a whole bunch of other shit can be put in there now? Like, you can pretty much save almost everything in a ship fitting, which is really nice. Especially mobile depots and tractor units. Those are cool. And warp disruptors. So you can bring your refit. It is now possible to select and delete multiple fittings at the same time. Holy shit. Nolan, thank you for that, joining as a member. Remember, the more members that I get, the more emotes I can make, too. It is now possible to select and delete multiple fittings at the same time. That is music to my ears. As a person that's been stuck at over 250 fittings saved since they made the changes, that makes me very happy, along with the fact that they increased the total. A shortcut has now been added for manage autopilot route window. Oh, that's cool. Let's find that out. Let's find out where that is. So it would probably be under navigation. No? Okay. Combat? No. Window. Am I having a strike? Oh, there it is. Manage autopilot route. So it's not set to anything by default, which is unfortunate. But the fact that you can set it is pretty cool. Hey, Balio Galente, thank you for that, joining as a member. I really wish that that had a hotkey to it, because that way, anytime something has a hotkey, it makes it far easier to explain it to a new player, right? Because you can just be like, oh yeah, hit Control Shift A to open up that window. All right. What was that? Oh, that's the delay. The delay. All right. Collapse all groups have been added to corporation asset list. Handy. When reloading modules, only the ammunition and charges you have the skills to use will be shown in the right-click menu. That's pretty nice. You know what I want? I want a button on the fitting window that removes all items in your cargo that you cannot use. Because so often I'll give somebody a fit and they'll be like, I can't fit this. When the reason why they can't fit it is because there's like T2 missiles in the cargo or T2 drones on a non-drone boat. And you're just like, oh, just rip out the missiles, right? Like, it'd be cool if there was a way, just like you can identify which ones are messed up, there'd be cool if you could just remove the ones that are messed up. But either way. Your active ship is now placed at the top of the repair window. Handy. The create contract window. Although, honestly, in the repair window, come on. Everybody just selects one, Control A, repair all, right? Like, let's be real. Sorry, somebody posted me something in the back channel, and I had to go look at it, and it made me chuckle because there's Naglfar running around. All right, the create contract window will now show the pre-selected items at the top of the pick item list. Hallelujah! Holy shit! This is so commonly a problem for me because if I'm contracting something remotely, I need to use the contract system to split the stacks. So if I have like 20 things in a place where there's shit tons of things, I now have to like scroll through the whole list to find the one item so that way I can split it up. The fact that the selected items are at the top, mwah, thank you. It is now possible to see how many contracts have been filtered out with the contract search. That's actually kind of handy. Release control has been added to the radial menu when controlling a structure. Any love for the radial menu is good. The security status of a system has been added in front of the location name and personal and corporation assets. Oh yeah, we were looking. I didn't even think about it earlier, but you can see it there. There's all of the security status on my personal asset. It begs the question, though. It begs the fact that I kind of now want to be able to sort by security status, right? Anyway. The loot all button now has focus when opening Rex, by default allowing for quick looting by hitting enter. This is fucking awesome. For a few reasons. It's funny that the loot all button wasn't actually a main part of Eve for a long time. Actually, I was playing the game when the loot all button was added. The loot all button having a hotkey is fucking phenomenal. And in a weird way, it also brings better parity to people who practice ninja looting and like have it set to like do it really, really quick versus somebody who is just trying to do it with hotkeys or whatever, right? Like now everybody can loot all as fast as they possibly can by just spamming enter. The minimum distance of the directional scanner has been changed to 0.1 instead of 0. Fucking handy. This is super handy because A, a directional scan of 0 is useless, and B, it used to be that the shortest range of the D-scan was what the range that you needed in order to D-scan your Plex while you're inside. So this makes that true again. It'll come, just nag CCP. What do you think we're doing? What do you think all of this was for? The maximum number of fleet mates which can be added to the watch list window has been increased to 100. Fucking Mad Lads did it! This game is a raid game now, boys. I really need to see what the visuals of this fucking looks like. I am unironically so thrilled. In my opinion, this is one of the biggest changes in the entire game, or in the entire expansion. This fundamentally changes small and mid-game warfare. Any fleet that's between 15 and 100, basically. This significantly changes those things. I'm so happy. You know how everybody's always yelling at you to broadcast for reps? While it's still going to be useful to broadcast for reps, don't get me wrong. This is going to allow me to know you're taking damage before you do. A shortcut has been added for regroup for players in fleets. That is extremely handy. Holy shit, that's handy. Oh my god, that's handy. Wait, that wasn't already a shortcut? It wasn't. You're right. It wasn't. That is tremendous. You know who's going to like this? Abyss runners. So, a fleet commander, one of the things that a fleet commander can do is issue what's called a regroup command, which tells everybody underneath it, underneath them, to change, to begin orbiting them at like 500, right? So you know how like your FCs have always complained that nobody's anchoring up? Did you know that they had the ability to force you to anchor up this whole fucking time and they just weren't doing it? Well, now they have a hotkey for it. But what I find terrifically useful about this hotkey is hotkeys are very useful in moments of panic, moments of intensity, moments of where every half second counts, right? So here's a little pro tip. If you're flying with your friends in the Abyss, in Frigate or Destroyer Abyss, the secret is to make sure that all of you are in the same squad. No one is in squad command position, and free move is set to being on. What that does is, what that means is that now, if any of your fleet disconnects, either of the other members or the other people within the Plex, the Abyss, either the 1 destroyer or 2 frigates or whatever, they can hop up to the squad commander position, order a regroup, and save the person's ship from charging outside of the boundary. I have actually saved multiple ships this way, multiple people who have DC'd. So having this be a shortcut and having it be something that you can just really quickly execute without thinking about it is going to save people's lives in the Abyss. Dan coming in and becoming a member. Thanks for that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. 07 to you. 07's in chat. All of you new members that get the 07s. There is actually a new redesign of the 07 coming, by the way, guys. Should I show you guys a preview? It's not that different. Help pointers for station services have been updated, more accurately reflect the actual names of the services. Cool. When opening help pointer window, the focus is now on the search bar, which is excellent. Many new help pointers have been added. Excellent. It is now possible to set the font size in one chat window and apply it to all other chat windows. Cool. When deleting a bookmark, you will now see the name of the bookmark in the confirmation window. Good, I guess. Sure. Seems neat. What's this all about? We are going over the expansion. Gameplay. Fixed an issue preventing mutated drones from healing while tethered. Fine. Removed incorrectly spawning ore from abandoned mining colonies. Ore anomalies with no ore inside and not responding caused by NPC mining operations. Mining the last piece of ore in the anomalies will now be resolved as they will no longer deplete asteroids. And the... yeah, sorry, never mind. Where is it? There's another one. Did they not put it here? Is it later on? The secret to this is, oh, hold on. Last piece of ore, as they will no longer deplete asteroids. So the NPC mining operations got significantly nerfed. Like, they now have 100 times less capacity, and they mine the equivalent or so reduction in quantity. So what this does is it makes it so the clockwork mechanics of the mining fleet still operate, but they no longer destroy the ore anomalies. And on top of that, there was apparently a bug that was causing those anomalies to just remain open and empty because they were mined out by NPCs. These two things combined are the reason why it's been so remarkably difficult to find ore in low-sec to mine. So congratulations, low-sec mining is just a little bit more viable again. If only the rats that spawned while doing it weren't so nasty. The wild miner module had become a little bit less wild and can now be listed on the market. I actually don't know what that would mean. Fixes crashes on Mac client. Resign as CEO option, no longer in the menu if you're a director. I've always found that was kind of funny. Closing or minimizing a full screen window no longer restores all other minimized windows. I heard people complaining about that the other day. Fixed an issue with Faction Warfare Agent not updating correctly. Fine. Updated porpoise trace to reflect it being able to fit a medium industrial core. Sure. Updated Abaddon reinforced bulkhead roll to link to hull upgrades. Fine. The HUD speed gauge background no longer fades out when at high speeds. Sure. Assist and guard state indicator now shows correctly in the drone window. Good. Docking via radio menu no longer becomes unresponsive to player input. Fucking thank God. Disabling window blur no longer causes windows to become overly transparent. Let me see real quick. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, kind of. The dock-in solar system map option now shows when the probe scanner, directional scanner windows are stacked. Cool. Tab notification indicators in the chat window now uses the correct theme colors. Fine. Also, I think that there's a new overview, isn't there? Didn't they put in a new overview setup? Not listed here, but I thought they did. Like, the default overviews got changed. Some miner modules from loot are stupid expensive. Yeah. But I don't know what a wild miner is, what it means to be less wild, and where they came from. Yes, you could still find ore under certain locations, but there was so many different ore fields that you would just go to them, and especially the anomalies. The belts would still respawn pretty good, but anomaly after anomaly would just be completely empty. I kind of want to know. I am going to throw on another ad while we look this up. Extracts common ore quickly, but has difficulty with the more rare types. Now, this page is probably not updated yet, so we could probably even look it up in game and see if there's any difference. And it is a storyline item. So probably Cosmos, you're right. In fact, it requires Yan Yung pieces. So yeah, it's a Cosmos thing. So let's see if there's any difference. Mining amount is still 60. No residue, 0% probability, 1 slot. I don't know. It could only be sold on contract. Is that what they mean by it's less wild, i.e. it's not out in the wild? It's now not like a change in its behavior at all? Let's go look. Here it is. So its meta group has been moved to 3. Its dynamic type is now 0. It's now a mining laser, and its parent... Yeah. So it hasn't actually had its functionality changed. It just was put... It now functions correctly. It's item ID 22923, which means as an item it came out around the time of Empyrean Age. So probably Cosmos Admission type stuff, right? Or Epic Arc. Could be Epic Arc. It could be Epic Arc. Usually type IDs are put in relatively order. So the fact that like the Executor Navy issue comes after and the Caracal Navy issue comes before tells me that it happened at around that time. Yes. Yeah. Yan Yung is Galente Cosmos. I understand that. But either way. Not sure. Doesn't seem as overly important. And that's it for the patch notes. Known issues. You know, as far as things go, I tweeted this earlier. People give CCP shit for like bugs on things on the first day of like events and shit. As far as like, I was nervous with how little we saw of some of this stuff on Sissy before it came here. But man, for the size of this expansion, the known issues that have cropped up, the bugs that have come out of it, are extremely mild. So that's awesome. However, the big one, actually, I would say, is that the rendezvous points right now are causing hits to standings when they're not supposed to. So I would actually recommend avoiding running rendezvous points today until they can fix that. Level of detail of dreadnoughts, whatever, missing icons, VFX during warp on the courser, detached from the ship. That's kind of funny. Dirt doesn't accumulate correctly. All this stuff is cosmetic shit, right? Thunderchild slips, clips through the assets in the upwell hangar. Redock animation issues. Battleships, camera issues. Ads located on dock do not change status. Zenitra science ball problem, visual issue. Skins in upwell structures. Yeah, I mean, like, as far as this goes, all of these are just little visual issues, which is fine. Totally fine. Graphics settings, optimized settings for quality does not update the ambient occlusion setting. I mentioned that earlier. Some corporation logos may overlap. Skin changes are not immediately reflected. Sorting by EM in Paragon loyalty stores do not always reorder the items. They mean ever marks, not electromagnetic. Switching to personalization tabs while simulating a citadel will instantly switch the view back to the equipments tab. Okay. Corporation ever marks value will not appear higher than 1,000. Rarely, Iris agents may not offer a mission. Jita Iris agent can appear twice within the Paragon Agents tab. And no plus icon in the chat window header. You can still open chat channels windows by right-clicking the chat icon in the Neocom. Like, that is some really, really, really mild known issues, right? At least it's not like new Dreadnought BPCs not added to LP store or something wild like that. Everything is mild next to Budai. Yes, that's true. That's true.